I did not tell my real estate agent I was pregnant. I did not tell the lender I was pregnant. I kind of kept that to myself. Hey Bills, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and let's keep the family growing. Hey, let's keep the family growing. Okay. It's been a while since I've done my makeup and come up here with you guys to talk about things. So I decided, you know what? Let's make a happier video because it's been so depressing on my channel lately. Like I'm just so much stuff going on in real life that it's like we need something lighter. Come on, Rachelle. Today we're going to be talking about buying a home while super duper prego. I'm going to tell you guys about my home buying journey because this was like one of the biggest blessings in my life. You know, other than my son, obviously. A lot of you guys have asked me how I was able to buy my house, how I was able to do this on a single one budget. So here's all the tea. I actually was working while I was pregnant. I worked throughout my whole entire pregnancy. I was a restaurant manager. So while I was like super duper pregnant, carrying my baby, carrying him everywhere, I was working. I was on my feet for 12-13 hours a day. It was hell, but I knew that I wanted to buy a house. Okay, let's backtrack because this is like a little confusing. So let's backtrack a little bit, okay? All right, cool. So it all started when my apartment complex flooded. I was living in a townhome and the ceiling caved in and it just flooded. All my things were wet and there was bugs and it was gross. It was disgusting. And the complex decided, you know what? We're going to charge you to move you. They said they were going to charge me to move into another unit because the only unit they had available was an upcharge. So not only were they going to charge me to move, to transfer me, they were also going to charge me extra for the unit. So when they finally decided, okay, let's transfer her, I had to go over their head to try to get the fee waived and to try to get my rent to stay the same. But I was able to get the transfer fee waived, but they would not change the rent price. So I was stuck paying more. The final straw, here's the final straw. So when they finally moved me, my neighbors were non-stop smokers. It was gross. They smoked weed, they smoked cigarettes. There was cigarette butts all over the floor. There was black mouths, like just all over, littering the floor. And and this was not like a cheap complex. It was not even in the ghetto. I was just unfortunate enough to go from like a nice part of the complex to like a really crappy neighbor. Their kids were constantly skipping. It'll be like 10 a.m. and their kids are sitting on the stoop. And I think they were the ones smoking. I don't know if the parents knew, but I mean, they have to have known because you can smell it. I'm going off on a tangent. I tend to do that. Sorry. Okay, so I decided, you know what? F this. I hate living in apartment complexes. I hate paying money and not seeing where it's going because I never see it again. I'm just going to get my own house. I went to the internet and looked up what do you need to buy a house. I think I was about 5 months pregnant or so. So I go into the good old Google. What do I need to buy a house? You need to have proof of income. I need to save for a deposit. I need to make sure my credit is on point. And I need to, keep working because I had to. So the first thing I did was apply for pre-approval. I kind of knew that I probably wasn't going to get what I wanted, but I wanted to just know where I was at, where I was starting off from. So I went in and applied for pre-approval. And when I did this, they pulled your credit score, they pulled everything. And the lender was like, you know what? If you fix this, this, and this, we can like get you this range of a loan. We'll do it for you for like $300 and blah, blah. So I'm like, I got this. So I went and I disputed everything that I saw on my credit that was like out of the timeline, or that just shouldn't be there anymore. I disputed everything and I was able to raise my score by like almost, I think it was almost 100 points just by disputing things and getting things knocked off. It was probably a month later. So I reapplied for a pre-approval, and I got exactly the range I needed, 150 to 200,000. I got approved, and I was so excited. Next step will be to find a real estate agent. So I looked up on Zillow, I was looking at houses, and I found my real estate agent there, and she kind of stood out to me. So I just like hit her up like, hey, I need a real estate agent. I'm trying to buy a house. You Gucci, you down? Okay. She messaged me back, and she sent me like a list of information. Okay, before you come for me, at the time, Rebecca was in Fort Lauderdale. She was not licensed in my area. So anyways, the real estate agent like pulled up a few listings. She's like, hey, what are you looking for? And I said, you know, I wanted to get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I needed windows. I would love windows, and I had a little list. I think I still have it, so I'm going to put it here. I wanted like a bay window. I'm just going to list them here so you can see like my little checklist. I was actually very simplistic and realistic with my list. Still, I did not get everything I wanted. My main thing was that I wanted a house that did not feel like an apartment. A lot of the new builds these days have this like apartment-y feel, and after living in apartments for like 8 years, 9 years, how long has it been? I started living on my own since I was 18, the moment I was 18, and I've lived in a different apartment every year since, sometimes more than once a year. So I've lived in a lot of different apartments. This will be my first time staying in one place. Whew. That was actually very scary for me. Growing up in foster care, I moved a lot, and I went to so many schools. Like staying steady, staying in place was like a foreign concept for me. I really wanted stability for my son, so it was like a very comforting kind of thing, knowing like I'm actually finally going to stay still. Wow. Even now, it's been 3 years, but even now it's like, wow. Going through a list she would send me, and I wasn't really seeing anything, and then I'll go on my own as well and look up things on Zillow. We went and looked at a couple houses, and I wasn't feeling it. One of them I was gonna think about, but then the moment I got home, she's like, oh yeah, that's gone. Houses were selling like hotcakes. They were just selling so fast. I found this house myself, and I was like, hey, you know, does this house, can you get me a showing? And she was like, sure. So we came in, the house was actually staged, and I walked in, and I was like, oh wow. I think this is it. I remember sitting on the stairs, looking around, trying to get a feel of the house, get a vibe of the house. And I was like, you know what? I think this is it. Let's put an offer on this house. Let's get this one. And she was like, okay. So she went and put the offer in immediately. The offer was accepted, and you know, we had to go through appraisals and different things like that, and you know, move forward, right? So the house was actually a flip, but they did not take care of everything that needed to be fixed, and there was still a checklist a mile long. This house was basically a fixer-upper, like a move-in ready fixer-upper. If I hadn't been on a pregnant time crunch, I probably would have not gone for this house. As we're moving forward, we hit a couple of snags, because of course, nothing worth having comes easy, apparently. We had the listing date set for like February. My son was born in May, so we were ready to go. First roadblock, I lost my job. They said they fired me because I called in sick, and I did not follow proper procedure when I called in sick. I was like, hold up, your girl pulled out all her receipts, and they were like, unfortunately the decision's been made. Okay. I know that they fired me because they found out I was pregnant. But you know what? You know, that's in the past. I'm over it now, but I can tell you, whew. Actually, you know, if you guys remind me, I will tell you the story of how I was fired for being pregnant because of a jealous manager. Let me know in the comments and I'll make a video about that. Still bitter. Anyway, so my offer was accepted, everything was good to go, and then I lost my job. And the funny thing is, they called the day after I lost my job, they called to verify my employment. Had they called 2 days prior, it'll be fine. But they called the day after I was fired. So, thankfully, my real estate agent was like, you know what? We can still make this happen. All you have to do is find another job within 2 weeks. So, I fired my resume. When you're a restaurant manager, it's very easy to like find like jobs. Once you're like a manager, you can find any, like, it's really easy to find jobs. So I was like applying, send my resume, resume everywhere. And within 2 weeks, I was actually hired. Thankfully, I was able to find a job. But they said, okay, well, now that you have a job, we have to wait until we get at least the first pay stub. So I said, well, I have to get, like, I can't stay in my apartment complex anymore. I have to move. What do I do? But the seller decided, you know what? We'll let you move in pre-close. I was so shocked. My real estate agent was like, she was amazing. Honestly, she was amazing. And she was able to get me into the house pre-close. But of course, I had to pay them, you know, like a fee. So I was able to move in pre-closing, which was a blessing. And I was able to get my first pay stub, my second pay stub. And I thought we're good to go. But of course not. Third roadblock, when I filed my taxes, there was some kind of like a number missing. The IRS owed me like $1. So because they owed me $1, my loan would not go through. So mind you, I already lost my job. I found a new job. I moved into the house. I was ready to close, but $1 was in my way now. So I filed the adjustment, waiting. My belly's getting bigger. I'm ready to like explode. I need to give birth and just waiting. Checking the website, irs.com/status, whatever. Checking. Wow. It took, I want to say it took like 45 days. So mind you, I was already living in the house and I thought, okay, the seller's not going to hold off much longer. They're going to tell me to pack my stuff and leave, and I'm going to basically be screwed because I will have like less than a month to find a new place and close on it before my son came. And at that time, I would not be working anymore and I would not be able to prove income, so I'll be screwed. Tell me why God was like, girl, stop. You know you got this house. Stop. Chill. I got you. So eventually the IRS finally comes through and they send me my $1. And I sent the lender proof that I got my $1. Just like, it's so funny. So I just have to send him like proof that it was adjusted and I got, you know, and it's so funny because I remember saying like, I don't need that $1. F that $1. I don't want that $1. Keep it, please. I just want my house. Like, who cares? It's $1. But obviously, all the T's have to be crossed and all the I's have to be dotted. So even though it was just $1, it had to be done and it had to be fixed. I'm fine now. So obviously, the story is a happy ending because I'm in the house. You know, a side note, he keeps seeing my son just running up and down. But side note, one of my friends told me I should start a YouTube channel and tell all my stories because like my life is constantly like an endless drama. Things are always happening to me and sometimes like I have to like check and see like, is this a dream or is this reality? Whatever that can go wrong, typically almost always goes wrong for me. Even though like it'll get right in the end, but whatever that can go wrong typically does, so yeah. But anyways, I worked up until I gave birth and it was so lucky because they checked my employment before I gave birth and I guess they did not recheck it after. So they checked my employment before I gave birth and I gave birth and then I went to sign. I did not tell my real estate agent I was pregnant. I did not tell the lender I was pregnant because I read somewhere online that if you're pregnant, they might not give you the loan because they require that you prove re-employment, like that you're going to be coming back within a certain time and get letters from employees. And so I kind of kept that to myself. I mean, like technically it's not any of their business anyway, and I had enough saved up to pay my mortgage. I don't know, like I guess I was like paranoid. I did not want them to be like, oh, so here's another roadblock because you're pregnant. So I was just paranoid and I just said, you know, I'm not gonna tell anyone. I just kept it to myself. My real estate agent knows now, like a year later, because we were just talking about something and I'm like, I mentioned my son and she's like, oh, you have a son? And I'm like, so yeah. Cricket. That's the story of how I purchased a home while pregnant and kept my pregnancy to myself so that I wouldn't lose the house. So yeah. If you guys would like to see what my house looks like, you guys can actually go ahead and check my hair. And I also put in the description, I do have a house tour. I will do another house tour when I finish the 1,000,001 projects that I have to do around the house. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, may your hair game be as strong as your coffee game. I love you, latte. Oh no, it's not focusing. Hey. Love you latte right here. Put the heart. Put the heart right here. Ah, there you go. Bye, boos. It's been a while since I've done my dance, so like let's bring it back because we need to like smash goals and hit milestones. Yeah. Let's get to 10K. Let's get to 10K. Let's get to 10K. Hit that subscribe button.